going with. But I still, like I echoed earlier, still want to see IQ kind of learn and become a better point guard. Now, can Derrick Rose kind of teach him that and take him under the wing? That remains to be seen. Derrick Rose is used to coming off the bench. He's been doing that in Detroit. So maybe he might be willing to kind of teach IQ some of his, tricks, trying to get around defenders and also finding open teammates. And maybe that could help elevate IQ's game as a point guard. But I think actually being out there in game and being under the pressure, under the spotlight would have been the best way to kind of help him elevate as a point guard.
I don't see Derrick Rose as the veteran that should be teaching IQ simply because their games are completely different in every way. The
But
same
just to
way.
counter that part and that counter that point, just to
I haven't
say
even made.
that he might help. Go ahead. What you said?
No, I said I haven't even made the point yet.
Oh, I thought out because we know each other. I know where you about to go with it.
I'm just gonna say that the same offensive spots that Derrick Rose normally goes to are not the spots that IQ needs to go to. Like it's just different.
But I would
That's all.
say the fact that they aren't aren't the same type of players, I think is why Derrick Rose could be a benefit to teaching IQ, because what Derrick Rose excels at are some parts of the game that IQ kind of lacks. So if Derrick Rose were to be the consummate professional and take IQ under his wing, then I think offensively IQ's game could elevate because IQ still attacks. So IQ still tries to get into the paint, get to the basket. It's just that he's a phenomenal shooter, which opens up what he's able to do off ball and how he's able to help his teammates out being off ball and attracting attention. So if IQ was able to learn some of the craftiness or kind of build upon some of the craftiness he has, learning from Derrick Rose, then we could see some benefits from Rose being with this team. I just don't think that it should come at the cost of IQ seeing more time on the court. And what do you think about that?
I mean, it makes sense in theory, but that's more aligned with IQ learning, like adding more to his game, like learning more. But I feel like he needs a veteran point guard who has a similar play style. That way, he can already perfect what he has right now. That still needs some developing. But taking the game that he currently has, which still needs to be sharpened in some places, and just introducing a completely different style of play is going to be too much. I mean, because he still has a lot of places that he needs to work on just for himself as a shot creating point guard, as a point guard who should be focusing on shooting off the dribble and getting into much better shots, as opposed to not working on that and then now learning this whole other style of breaking down defenders, getting to the basket, being more athletic and more crafty. I just
Yeah,
feel like it's a huge shift in his development.
I don't know. I think Derrick Rose has that back and forth crossover that'll kill people. So I don't know if IQ will be able to take that from him, because IQ's handle up till now to me is something that he can definitely work on. So if Derrick Rose can take IQ under the wing and kind of work on his handle, I think that'll be good, because IQ, even though I like him as a player, I think he should be the starting point guard. I'm not gonna sit here and just act like IQ doesn't have flaws. IQ does have some flaws that he needs to work on. I just think getting him in game is where you're gonna see the benefits. Like IQ jumping to pass the ball, he does that time and time again, and eventually defenses are gonna start making him pay. Also, IQ also stops his dribble a little too early for my liking, especially when he gets in compromised positions. He kind of gets, I guess, he gets a little jittery, stops the ball and looks to pass immediately. As a true point guard, I'd like to him to be able to control the ball and dribble the ball out a little bit and to reset, as opposed to having to stop in his dribble and pass the ball.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do, because I can't dribble. IQ, as a starting NBA point guard, he's definitely going to have to work on that.
No, he definitely does. And I just got to shout out someone's comment. It was like, Tibbs is turning us into the New York Timberwolves.
Bro.
Uh-huh.